Crossroads, welcome back for week 2 of Connect Groups. I am here, my name is Rhett, the youth minister here at Crossroads, and I look forward to the opportunity just to be able to summarize Pastor Pep's sermon from this past Sunday and to be able to encourage you as a Connect Group leader to get ready for what's ahead. So let's talk about this passage of scripture that Pep read. It was James chapter 1 verses 2 through 4. Which say, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. But let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. So at the very beginning, if you have your sermon notes, I'm basically going to be going bullet point from what Pep had preached on. And at the beginning, the whole idea, the whole beginning of this book, he gets right down to the center of what he wants to talk about, and it has to do with trials. Pep mentioned the Greek word for trials, which is pyrasmus. This word can refer to tests, and it can also refer to temptations. Two different things, but they're underneath the same umbrella. God uses tests in our lives to be able to test us to become more like Christ. Satan uses temptations to try to pull us away from Christ. They're both underneath the umbrella of a trial, test, and temptations. Two different things under the same umbrella, though. Then it goes on, Pep talked about how the word count, it's actually a banking term that is being used. There's a difference between an asset and a liability. And in the counting all joy part, what he wants you to focus on is the fact that you should count it as an asset. It should be something that's valuable in your life. And so you need to learn to count the trial all joy. He goes on there to talk about 3 different truths about trials. Trials are inevitable. It says, count it all joy when you fall into various trials. It doesn't say, count it all joy if, or count it all joy maybe you're going to fall into a trial. You will. 100% probability you will go through a trial. Trials are unavoidable. You can't get away from the trial. It's going to happen in your life. And trials are varied. There's various kinds of trials that happen. In my life, I may be struggling with one thing while you are struggling with something completely different. They're different trials. In my life, I may be struggling through something. Later on in my life, I conquer the test. I'm able to move on to another test. There's another trial that will come into my life. The trials vary over your lifetime. And so he goes from there, and Pep gives a quote from O.S. Hawkins, which says, there are 2 kinds of trials. There are trials of correction, and there are trials of perfection. So after he mentions this quote, he sings a song, a beautiful song that he sings, which I thought was personally hysterical. So I've got a hidden talent that I want to be able to share with you guys. I actually can do a really great impersonation of Pep's voice. So I thought for this video to encourage you as you get ready for your Connect groups that I would sing the song that Pep sung during the service. So let me clear my throat so I can get this Pep's voice really well. So anyways, here's the song that Pep sang.
Big trials, small trials, trials that tend to shock, tough trials, sissy trials, even trials like chicken pox, like trials. Please like trials, 'cause trials make you like Christ. I expect all Connect group leaders to sing that at your next home group, okay?
That was good. All right, so that was the song that Pep sang. So there's one more part to the sermon notes, so let's finish it up. And he talks about God's purpose for trials. And it's a 2-step process. Step number 1 is trials produce spiritual toughness. And then he goes on to say in step 2, spiritual toughness leads to Christ-likeness. Let me ask you a question. Do you want to be more like Jesus? I want to ask you another question. Do you want to go through trials? It's tough because as Christians we say, yeah, I want to be more like Christ. And then we ask the question, do you want to go through trials? No, I don't want to go through trials. Anything but that. But the truth of the matter is that both those questions are the same thing. It's a cause and effect. To become more like Christ, you have to go through trials. I'll give you an example. I know here recently for me, I guess with just like the winter months and stuff, all I want to do is sit on the couch and I want to roll up in a ball on a blanket and just lay there. I've noticed that exercising for me is it always, during the winter months, it dies down. I have a hard time going outside in the freezing cold and running. I don't like doing it. And so here recently I went and I got a membership at the Y. And I've been waking up each morning and I've been going and trying to work out just to keep my body in shape. I can't lay on the couch eating potato chips and hope that I get in shape. It takes work. It takes practice. And so for the same type of thing, as a Christian, to become more like Christ, you have to go through trials. You can't become more like Christ without the trials. They go hand in hand. You've got the example that Pep uses of the boxing ring. He ends with this of talking about how in life you're going to go through different arenas. And when a trial comes, you enter the arena and you start dodging. You're getting hit left and right. You're getting hit left and right. And then you come out of the arena. If you fail the test, what happens? You've got to go back, enter the arena, and you've got to dodge again, and you've got to go through again. And you will keep repeating the same trial until you are able to conquer the trial. When you conquer it, what happens? Well, lucky you get to go into a new arena and go through a new trial. And you get to go and you get to dodge and you get to fight again. But why does God do this to us? He does it to us because He wants to make us more like Christ. To do it, you've got to go through trials. When you understand that, the beginning of James makes so much more sense. Count it all joy. How can you count trials with joy? Because the trials are making you more like Christ. That's so important. And as you're in your Connect groups this week, take heart from that. There's going to be people in your groups that are going through some serious trials. They're going to need an opportunity to share that this week. Let them share. You need to be there. Your Connect group needs to be there to encourage them, to press on, to count it all joy. It doesn't say you have to be happy about it, but be joyful in the fact that you know that God is using this to make you more like Christ. So I encourage you this week as you go to your Connect groups, just continue to be a light for Christ and shine for Him. And that would be the end of James chapter 1, verses 2 through 4. So I encourage you as your study continues. Christ